Okay, next category. The next category, Best in VR based on cinematic and television experience. There's actually two winners. The first is Can You Walk the Walk, which is Create VR, Sony Pictures, and Sony Magic Lab. Can you guys run the clip? Yeah, it's astonishing. Okay, great. And can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jake Black. I'm the creative director of motion graphics and VR.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys, take it.
I can always be first if you
Yes.
want.
Please.
I'm here.
So, there's a company called WorldViz. It's a great old school VR company. I've been working with them for many, many years. And they have that pit that you step on a wooden, like a plank thing, and you look down and you need to make the next step. And I've had so many years in VR, and I did not want to make that step.
Yeah.
You took it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
And I think that what you've done using such high-profile content, IP, is going to take VR that far further. And number one, I do appreciate it for everyone that worked so hard to push VR for the past few years. But the question that I have for you is, how did it get into the process? Meaning, how does it get into such a big property going out? Is
Sure.
it on the marketing side? Is it from the creative side?
Well, it's a little both, actually. So, Create VR is actually a department of Create Advertising, and we're a trailer house. So we actually cut the teaser for the walk about a year ago. So as we were working on it, since I run motion graphics, I know, all the 3D stuff, and I'm just kind of a geek. So we were all into the VR stuff and did some experiments over the summer. And we were looking to say, like, all right, what could be our first VR project? And we're cutting the walk, so we're like, well, this is kind of perfect. So we just, on our own time and money, built a prototype just with gray boxes, but built it to scale of New York City. And I remember the first time I put the headset on at the top, I looked over, I could see the skyline. I was like, all right, yeah, this is cool. It feels big, they feel far. And then I walked over to the edge, and I leaned over, and my stomach just tightened. And I was like, all right, this is going to work. So as we were working on the teaser, we met with Sony, and actually Nancy Tate and Kristen Withers from Sony Pictures are here. We met with them, and we showed them the prototype, and they said, well, what's funny is we were actually thinking the exact same thing. And we've been working with PlayStation on this because it's Sony. So, let's all link up and see what we can do. And
Can you talk to us about PlayStation VR in particular?
Yep.
I mean, if you guys haven't tried the device, it's a phenomenal device. What was special, perfect about using that device for this? And I mean, for me, there's that moment I hear other people talk about. You lose yourself in, there's a moment in VR, well done VR, where something switches and your mind is like, I'm there, I'm here.
Yeah.
And like, what was it about that device? What was it about the experience?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, we worked really closely with PlayStation on this, with Rick Marks, who's here today, and Connie Wang. And they were really great partners, and they gave us a lot of guidance and helpful tips on this, because as we were doing this, in the middle of development, they came out with the new Morpheus, PlayStation VR prototype with the OLED screen and all that. And what was really great about that was it changed it to, I can't emphasize enough, the 120 hertz screen and reprojection is amazing. So there's no lag at all when you turn your head around, and it's very fluid, and you don't even think about it. So that was a really, really big, important part of it. Other parts, we actually have a really simple 4D elements, as much as I kind of hate that word. We do have a physical wire on the floor, so you can feel it and you get that little sense of tactile feedback. And so even when you're just on it, you kind of feel a little off balance, and that really throws your mind into another space. And then we even just have a fan, simply just for wind. And those two things, I mean, it's $50. And you got 4D, and it just completely, it takes the experience to another level. It's not nearly as cool without it. So.
One of the fascinating things about this project, and I know you talked about some of this stuff earlier on a different panel, is all of the applications for VR and AR outside of entertainment. And one of the big therapeutic ones for a long time that's been established is vertigo, fear of heights, all these things have been discussed academically, but actually you're a guy, I've heard so many people say, I can't even begin to go out on this
No,
thing.
we have, I mean, I've probably personally shown it to more than 1,000 people around the world. We just stopped touring it last week, and at least 25% of people can't take one step, you know, and even probably 5% of people, as soon as the image comes up, they just go like this and they take the headset off and they're done. I'm actually afraid of heights, and so when I would do it at first, because we have to calibrate it, the physical wire to the digital wire, and so I have to do that, and so I would, you feel it, but I've done it so many times now, I'm completely numb to it.
You're cured.
Of a certain kind of heights, yeah. I mean, I'm still,
That's what Seth is talking about.
yeah, I mean, so it's not like I'm cured of a fear of heights, but you definitely get accustomed to it, and I could totally see it being therapeutic.
Awesome. Neville, did you have?
Well, I was going to sort of playing on from that. Have you actually tried to, in the real world, now go to the edge of a cliff and see whether that's translated at all to?
I didn't do that, but actually, just a couple of weeks ago, I was in New York for the movie's junket, and so I made sure I wanted to get as close to the real view as I could in real life. So I went to the observation deck of the Freedom Tower. And it was pretty amazing to see. I mean, because what we have actually is period accurate to 1974, and it wasn't nearly as built up then. So it was really cool because I could look out, as close as it is.
Why don't you just talk about the World Trade, for those who haven't seen it, just.
In the experience, you actually walk, it's based on a real life story. So Philippe Petit, this French acrobat in 1974, walked across a tightrope between the two towers without any safety gear or anything. And he walked it back and forth like 7 or 8 times. And so in the experience, he walks 140 feet, and we walk about 9 feet, And then I have the people turn around and then walk back. And a lot of people, as soon as they turn around, they run back because they're just freaked out and I have to stop them. Otherwise, they, can tear it out. But it's really cool. I mean, when we worked really closely with the filmmakers on it and with Atomic Fiction, the visual effects company. So they have that 1974 in New York City, which is pretty different than it is today. So when you look down towards the Hudson, there's all this construction and mud and all that. And today it's just all skyscrapers. So it was really cool to see it in real life and see how it's changed and actually pick it apart. Be like, oh yeah, I know that big brown building that doesn't have any windows and that actually exists. So it was really cool to kind of, after this whole experience, finally see it again in real life and feel the similarities. And my stomach does tighten still when I look through the window.
Do you think that following this, Sony Picture will give more support to Sony PlayStation?
I mean, that's not really a question I can answer, but...
Meaning, was it a success?
It was definitely a success, yeah. Everybody's definitely happy with it. And, we would love to do more work with them. And, one of the tough things right now is just, as every single person that's ever done a VR project, we all encounter is just distribution. Like, how do you get it in front of as many people as possible? So part of what we did was a tour, yeah, and we took it around to theaters and all that. But it's still, like I've heard today, I mean, the Morpheus or the PlayStation VR it's going into an ecosystem where there's going to be tens of millions of PlayStations out already. And it's going to be a really easy purchase. And I really believe that it's going to be the most numerous out of the headsets. So, whereas today we have to take it on a tour of theaters in however long, 6 months, 8 months till, the hardware comes out, when you can just log in and download it off of the PlayStation Network and suddenly it's in millions. That's going to be a big thing, and I think they're aware of that. I mean, everybody is kind of waiting for that day of consumer headsets in stores, and I think that's going to be a huge game changer because then, even let's say if you create an experience that you can charge 99 cents for, suddenly that enables such greater budgets and such bigger experiences. I think that would open a lot of doors.
And most of those HMDs, including the PlayStation stuff, should happen Q1, Q2, right?
Well, I think, PlayStation VR is first half of 2016. So, by this time next year, there's going to be a pretty mature store for all of the headsets, and I think that's going to be the single biggest difference. I think it's going to change everything about what we do.
Awesome. Thank you. And here is your very special Booze Award from Digital Highway.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thank you.